Hey, howdy, hey, everybody, and welcome into another edition of the Nick&Nash podcast. As always, I'm your host, Matt Nash, and with me, as always, is my co host, Nick Calvacca. However, we have a special guest here today. One, Miss Macy Clem, from the University of Alabama soccer team. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today, Macy?
I'm good. I actually just got into Tuscaloosa yesterday. I was staying in Atlanta for a while with one of my friends, and we're going to start workouts and everything tomorrow. So I'm excited.
Hey, there you go. You ready to get back into the season?
Yeah, I'm excited. Our last season was kind of weird with Corona and everything, so I'm excited to kind of get a new fresh start with not having to worry as much about Corona and all that stuff. So I'm excited.
It'll look a little
Awesome.
more normal this year, right?
Yeah, I hope so. Hopefully, we'll have more than 8 games in a season. That'd be nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear you.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about you? So I, not to be weird or anything, I did a little bit of digging. Um, you went to Mullen High School, which, if I've found the right one, is a Catholic college prep school. So with what was the term they used? Lasallian values.
Yeah, it's a LaSallian school.
Could you walk us through a little bit of what that means?
Yeah, so I grew up in Conifer, which is more of like the mountains of Colorado, like kind of middle nowhere. And I had like a close like high school that I should have gone to, but my brother was a big football player, so he wanted to go to Mullen. It was like had a way better football program. But it's kind of a smaller, it's one of the private schools in Colorado, and it's a Catholic school. So it used to be an all boys school a long time ago. So that's kind of where the LaSallian heritage comes from. Like they have brother schools in like Africa, stuff like that.
Oh
Um,
wow.
but it's kind of a smaller private school, like 800 people, like not super big. But I'm really glad I went there. I think my life could have turned out a lot differently if I had gone somewhere else.
Was it a little bit of a culture shock coming down to Tuscaloosa?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
hear
the
you.
South is nothing like Colorado. Colorado's very like hiking and stuff like that, and then you come to the South and it's nothing like that.
Yeah, I hear you. Um, how about soccer as far as like your high school, your high school life went? How was the competition up in Colorado? Is it more competitive? Is it less competitive?
Um, so I played for my high school, but I also played for a club team. And the club team was kind of more where I got recognition from college and where it was a lot more competitive.
Okay.
Like the high school aspect of it wasn't super competitive. Like there's a few schools that were pretty good that won every year, but the club aspect was a lot like very, very competitive.
And I have in my notes that that was the Colorado Rush, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. So now is that considered I'm not familiar with the whole club thing. So more,
Mhm.
I guess more of your recruitment came from the club aspect
Yeah.
of okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of like I don't know, I guess you could compare it to like club softball. Like you would have tournaments that you would go to in different states, like showcases, and coaches would all just come to these places. Like we went to California and Florida all the time, and college coaches was just come from like all over the country and watch like a ton of games like over
Okay.
a weekend, and that was like every weekend. So that's kind of where you got seen for anything.
Cool. Yeah. So, this is kind of just an overall question. I said the same thing yesterday. We had a football player on, a barstool athlete. What is that like? Because now this is obviously so new. Dave Portnoy seems like everything he does turns to gold. I mean, the
Yeah.
guy's a motor. He doesn't sleep. So walk us through what it's like. I mean, if anything is in the works yet, take us through the whole barstool athletics scene.
Um, it's very interesting. I'm sure the whoever you interviewed the other day probably said similar, but I don't really know what is going to happen from it.
Hmm.
But it was funny because I've been like I've watched Dave Portnoy's pizza reviews since I was like 10 years old or whenever he started them. Like I've been obsessed
Me
forever.
too.
And one of my friends on my team actually texted me the morning that the Barstool Athletes started, and she's like, "Hey, I saw some girl from Jacksonville State, like, is partnered with Barstool." And I was like, "Oh my god, I love Dave Portnoy, I love Barstool, like, I want to try." So I literally went on like every social media I could think of and was like rapid fire texting him. And he ended up replying on Twitter and was just like, "Hey, want to be a Barcelona athlete?" I was like, "Of course I do."
So
Um,
you reached out to him in his DMs.
yeah, well, because when I had done it, the whole email like application thing wasn't even set up yet.
Okay.
Because I think I kind of hit it early, which I'm really happy about.
You were one of the first.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, and not to cut you off, I saw when I saw them post you, I was like, all right, Alabama girl, like let's get her on the show ASAP. So
Well,
you
tell
yeah,
Yeah,
me.
you
it was crazy. Like, I was like, because I saw everyone was posting on Twitter, like headshots of themselves. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. I just posted a picture and I said, "Roll Tide" at Dave Portnoy. And he messaged me back. And really, the only thing that we've kind of heard about now is like merch, like clothing, like Barstool Athlete clothing. And so I think we're going to get some stuff sent to us to wear. But I really don't know anything else about it.
okay.
So, all of this is possible because of the new name, image, and likeness rules that have come out through the NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
What was your initial reaction when you saw that they were just kind of essentially opening the floodgates to all that?
I thought it was really awesome. I know there's been a lot of controversy of like athletes getting paid. I did a lot of like, I had a speech class where one of the guys like gave a speech about that. And like, there's a lot of controversy over it because people are like, "Oh, they're already getting scholarships. Like they're taking scholarships from regular students, stuff like that." But I think if an athlete is like super big on social media per se, and these companies want to rep them just because of their name, I think they should have every right to do that. Because they're helping the school, but I think they should be able to help themselves. So I thought it was a really awesome opportunity for athletes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love that answer. Again, we've got good answers, Nick. Look at this.
I
These
know we're good.
athletes, they're coming on so prepared. Oh my gosh. Man.
So I wanna touch on something, if I may. I did a little research too, and I watched a little bit of your soccer games, and
Oh.
the goal that you scored against Arkansas.
Yes,
You know which one I'm talking
I
about.
know exactly which one you're talking about.
Matt, I don't know if you saw this,
No, no,
but
no. I just see it in text here. I don't know what happened.
oh my God, it was incredible. You want to walk us through that shot because even the announcer was speechless.
That one was pretty crazy.
You weren't looking to shoot there and score, correct?
No, everyone,
Okay.
everyone was like, "Oh my God, that was so cool. How'd you do that?" I was like, "I don't know if you could tell, but that was the accident."
You
um,
looked shocked.
yeah, I was shocked. I was like, "Oh my goodness." And like, I play like very defensive too.
Okay.
And so there's a few times I get up in the box and stuff. And I was literally like facing the goal. I just wanted to keep it in bounds. And I
Hmm.
turned around and I like watched it go in the goal. I was like, I don't even know how like it even managed to go that angle into the goal, but it did. And I was like, okay. Like, okay, I gotta pretend like I meant to do that.
Yeah, it looked like you were trying to keep it in, I guess, get it back into the box,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
another teammate. Um, but yeah, I mean, you said you're defensive minded, but in my notes here it says you led the team in assists, correct?
Yes. Yes, for this past season. I'm not sure about my freshman season, but yes, this past season I did.
Well, yeah, so
And
you're all
so
over the place.
yeah, that's my job as the position I play. I'm more of a passer. Like I find people
Mhm.
forwards, make them run onto the ball, they can go score.
I
So I
gotcha.
guess it's good that I have some assists in there.
For
Hey,
sure.
it's the through ball. The through ball is necessary.
Yeah, the through ball's dangerous.
Yeah. All right, so this might be a little bit selfish here, but I was a goalkeeper in high school. So, can you walk us through like in high school? I had a great relationship with my midfielder to the
Hmm.
point where we would scream and cuss at each other in the middle of the field, and then we would go and score right afterwards. Do you have
Yeah.
any kind of relationship like that with your goalkeeper?
Yeah. So the goalkeeper that we had my freshman year and some of my sophomore year, she actually medically retired because of some knee stuff. But I had played with her since I was about 14. Played on the same club team as her, and so I already had like a really good relationship with her. But it's it's interesting seeing like the relationship between the goalies and the defense and the midfielders because I mean the goalies basically just like scream at you the whole time and you just have to do whatever they say. And I mean if you do it, it works. So it helps to have a relationship with them so you don't get mad.
So let's actually just talk about your relationship with all the players on the pitch. So obviously, you being the middle fielder, you're essentially, for those of you who know football, the middle linebacker of
Mhm.
of the team. You see like you're listening to the goalkeeper, which is essentially the safety. You're
Mhm.
listening to them and you're seeing all the things in the front and you're also aware of what's going on behind you, so you're kind of manipulating all of that.
Yeah.
How difficult is that to do? Because that's no small feat.
Yeah, it's especially when you put it like that, like you have to be aware of everything. It's tough to do, but I've played midfield my whole life, so it's almost like habitual now. Um, like I'll see because I have to, sorry, someone just knocked on my door and threw my brain off. I don't know who that is. um, but I have to be able to, like my coaches always say, like you have to check your shoulders. So I have to constantly like looking over my shoulders because I'll get the ball from a defender and I might not know who's behind me and I could turn and run into a player. So it's kind of just something that's taken time to get used to, like being able to be aware of everything. But it's kind of a habit now, so it's not as hard as it might seem.
So with defense, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here. This is hitting the vein that I didn't know I had. With being so, like you said, you have to be able to turn and watch. Do you ever have defenders just come up and press you like crazy?
Oh
Like
yeah.
the defensive line just charge you to try and throw off the line and all that?
Oh yeah. It's it one of the hardest parts about being a midfielder is like I it's kind of my job to get it from the defenders and turn and find a forward. And like some games it depends on the team a lot, but some games I'll have three defenders on my back and I can't even get the ball half the game. I'm like running around the whole field trying to find the ball. But other games they kind of lay off a little bit and I love those because I can actually get it and turn. But not every team's like that. But yeah, it's tough. It's scary.
All right.
What so you know, obviously we all go to or went to Alabama. I guess from the soccer landscape of it, who do we not like, Macy? Who is it the
What team do
same?
we
Is it
hate?
yeah, give us some of the rivalries. Where's your favorite place to go play? When you get that schedule, who do you circle?
um, so obviously Auburn.
Hmm.
I we obviously hate Auburn. We've had so my freshman year we lost to them in regular play and then beat them in the SEC tournament, which was pretty awesome.
That's even
Um,
better.
I know that was exciting. I love going to play at Texas A&M. I don't know why. Their fans are like kind of evil, but it's like so much better. It's so
Awesome. Yeah.
exciting, like doing something cool and then being like, "Oh, take that, fans!" Like,
Hmm.
oh yeah. um, and we also don't really like Vanderbilt because they're so good.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've won the past two SEC tournaments. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, yeah. See, that's interesting to me because I wasn't expecting to hear you say Vanderbilt. I guess my that leads me into my next question is who are like the powerhouses in the SEC?
Um, Definitely Vanderbilt. South Carolina's been really good for a while. Um, Texas A&M was good for a long time. Oh, Alabama, of
There you
course.
go.
Other than Alabama, that's who's kind of like if we're like, oh shoot, we have to play this team.
Mm.
That's kind of I would say those are probably the top three.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool. And I mean, and you like going to A&M, you said. So I mean, that's just the competitive nature, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love it. Same with Ole Miss. Like their fans will chirp at you all day long, but then you do something and they all get quiet, and I'm like,
Yeah. Up, you say up yours.
Ole Miss fans, sorry, tangent. Ole Miss fans are wild. I watched them in softball and baseball.
you're
They are
evil.
obnoxious.
Yes.
Like when it comes to baseball, this one's for you, Nick. I don't know if you saw this. I think also with softball. If you walk a batter, they will keep counting the ball. So it's like you throw ball four, they'll yell at you ball four. The next ball
Yeah,
you throw is ball five,
yeah. They
and then
keep it going.
six,
Yeah.
seven, and
There was
it
one
kills.
pitcher. I don't know if you saw it. I think it was Mississippi State. There was one pitcher who threw like 9 straight balls. He walked like 2 batters in a row. He couldn't throw a strike. They were up to like ball 9. And they showed that the poor kid, they showed him on SEC Network, and he looked like he was dripping sweat. He just wanted to go home. Like he was just lost out there. But we don't have to talk about baseball.
So, all right, what season? So you're about to start training, which means that soccer is going to start in fall, right?
Yes.
So do you guys start during the hot months in Alabama?
Like working out and all that?
Well, I mean, like I was thinking more along the lines of the season, but working out definitely.
Oh, yeah. So we usually preseason starts like beginning, middle of August, typically,
Oof.
which that is definitely like
Ugh.
the hot times. And so summer, like right now, last summer we usually work out in the facilities, so it's like bearable. But last summer, because of COVID, we actually had to do all of our workouts, all of our practices outside, like all of July and August, and we were going at like 6 a.m. because anything past that was like you're gonna have a heat stroke.
I was about to say, how do you guys stay cool when you do have those preseason games and what I would argue is the hottest time of the year?
Honestly, I mean, they do a pretty good job of making the games at night, which helps a lot. Like 6 or 7, that's very nice. But we have a few games that are like 2 p.m. and I don't even know. I think it's just like subbing people in and out, like giving them water, having water breaks. It's horrible. My mom, like, she's not very good with heat because we're from Colorado. It's not that prominent, but every time she comes, she's like, I can't even sit out and watch. I die of the heat.
That's funny. So that's actually something else I wanted to ask about. So y'all are from y'all are from Colorado, right?
Yes.
What was your biggest "I'm in the South" moment when you got to Alabama?
When I got here,
Uh-huh.
I feel like this is pretty basic, but like this Southern, is it etiquette? Is that the right word? Or Southern
Yeah,
hospitality,
that
maybe.
works.
Southern hospitality, Southern etiquette.
I was trying to think of the word. I feel like that's pretty basic, but like everyone down here is so nice. I love the accents. Going to Colorado has accents, and I'll meet someone with like a really thick Southern accent, and I'll accidentally like copy it. I'm like, oh God, I'm sorry. But I don't know. That's probably one of the biggest ones. In the heat. That's
Yeah.
like out in the south.
Have you
What
added
what
the? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Nick.
No, just piggybacking off that, what made you go to Alabama? I guess my overall question would be like during your recruitment process, what other schools were reaching out? Were you close to going to another school and then you visited UA? Walk us through your kind of college decision.
Yeah, so the first school I ever looked at was my 8th grade summer going into freshman year of college, and it was KU.
Wow.
And my dad was like, "You have to go there because it's only 8 hours away." He's like, "I can drive and see you all the time."
Mm-hmm.
And then the other big schools were probably Georgia, Florida, and kind of a smaller one in Colorado, Colorado College.
Okay.
Um, but the biggest thing that kind of drew me to Alabama was the coaches actually were my coaches on my club team in Colorado. So
Oh.
the assistant coach, I played for him for 2 years, and he was my favorite coach I've ever had in my whole life. And they left to go to Alabama, and another girl on the team older than me went to Alabama, and I was like, oh, maybe I should look there. Like, I love Mike and Wes. Like, they were such awesome coaches. And so then I looked at it, and it was funny. I had gone and visited Georgia and Florida, and after I'd visited Alabama, I was like kind of getting ready to make my decision, and I had a dream that I committed somewhere other than Alabama, and I like woke up crying.
Oh
And
no.
so literally a week later, I called Mike and Wes, and I was like, I want to go to Alabama.
Oh no.
Oh man, what a story.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
That one's like that's one of the ones you hear about like like Reggie White getting the call from God and like stuff
Yeah.
like that. That's an incredible recruitment story.
I know. I love telling it. I'm like, ooh, it was weird, but I was like, I take everything as a sign. I'm like, that was a sign. I have to go there.
Did you visit before Bama Bound, before orientation?
Yes. So I visited my freshman year, like just kind of an unofficial visit, just got to see the campus and all that. And then went on my official visit. And then, yeah, I've seen it a few times before I came here.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I guess you kind of have to when playing a sport, no?
Yeah.
Because I, for myself, when I came to Alabama, I had never visited till orientation.
Oh, really?
No, orientation, and then I started class the next week. I was a transfer student.
Oh, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I took a gamble, but
But it
it's
ended
okay.
up working.
So yeah, it did, and that's what I was gonna say to you is best decision you ever made.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, I mean it's when this isn't about me, but when I was in the process, I was told, don't worry about it. There's no way you're not gonna like it there. Don't even worry. So I was like, okay, whatever.
No, that's
Uh,
so true. I think I haven't found one thing here that I haven't loved about Alabama. Like, I love it here.
yeah, it's hard to come up with a lot of negatives, but I'll swing it back to Matt because I'm talking too much.
All right. Well, here's a bit of a soccer question for you. Who takes corners? Who takes the corner? Do the midfielders take the corner, or do you have like a big strong leg defender that does it?
So I took them in high school and all that, but I like being in for corners. I would love to take corners. I think they're fun, but we have two girls. We have a left-footed and a right-footed that are kind of are designated like each side. They run across the field, go take them, and they're really, really good at it. So they're kind of our two people that take it.
So what position do they play normally?
They're actually both midfielders.
Really? So are you center midfielder or are you like right or left?
Center.
Okay, you're center mid. So are they the ones on your right and your left?
Yes, so it depends on the formation. If there's four in the middle,
Mm.
they're like the right or the left. But if there's three, they're just center.
Yeah.
But they both, one of them is really good left foot, and one of them's a really good right foot. So they're the designated corner kick takers.
That's awesome. And the question I was going to ask earlier before Nick so rudely cut me off. Have you added the y'all to your vocabulary yet?
Oh my goodness, yes. I
Awesome.
added that like the first week at school. Like I
Yeah.
came home and I was like talking to my friends from home or my family, and they're like, "Y'all?" They're like, "Who are you?"
Same. I'm guilty up in New York here. It's my
No,
friends, my friends give me what's that?
it's so hard not to. You hear it all the time.
Oh, you have to. It's, second nature.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a question about a teammate, if you don't mind, and if you can't say too much, then I completely understand. Um, I've been following these other tournaments, uh, Copa America, the Euros, the Gold Cup is starting soon. You have a teammate, Reina Reyes, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Is that
now,
smile?
so tell me what's going on. She plays international soccer as well as Alabama soccer? Am I reading everything correctly?
Yeah. So she actually plays for the full Mexican national team.
That's unbelievable.
It's so she's actually one of my best friends. So I knew exactly who we were going to talk about.
Okay.
But she played with she's been playing with the Mexican national team for a really long time, like the underage groups, like 16, 15, like all the way up.
Hmm.
She actually got called into full team camp this year at some point. And she just played like the US a few days ago. And now she's like actually on the full team roster. I don't really know what the whole deal with the Olympics is yet. I haven't talked to her much about it. But she kind of, if there's a camp that she has to go to middle of the season, she's got to go. And so we'll
So
lose her.
that's number one priority is the national team.
Yes. I mean, if it's like, oh, we have a game against Auburn, but you have a 2-week national team camp, our coach is usually like, I would go to the camp because that's incredible, you know?
I found that amazing. I saw, I follow a lot of athletes on Instagram, and I saw you guys posting a picture of her. I believe it was against the U.S.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, like roll tide. She's on the Mexican
Tide.
national team. That's
Yeah.
pretty awesome. Um, now, again, don't want to step on toes here. Just be honest with me. Is this allowed now because of the NCAA's new rules? Does she get paid on that national team? How does that work?
I'm not actually sure how that works.
Okay.
I haven't, if she does, I haven't really like talked to her about it.
Mhm.
But I'm sure the NIL definitely has something to do with it. But like athletes have been playing with national teams for a long time, and
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not really sure how the NIL would affect that.
Okay. Yeah, and sorry, I don't know how that works,
No,
so
it's
I was just trying to get a little insight, but this is all new. I mean, we kind of don't know where the NCAA is going to go next. We just hope that you guys get treated right. I mean, you guys are busting your behinds, with school and with sports and with travel and all that. So I think it's a good thing that you guys got going right now.
yeah, I think it's awesome. Yeah, sorry, I don't know much more about the Reina thing, but
Don't be
um,
sorry. No.
I think it's awesome. I honestly didn't expect too much right away with the NIL thing because I was like, oh, it's just going to be the huge football players or basketball players, and I think like the Barstool was like so crazy. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is actually going to be.
Everyone. Barstool's doing great with it. I mean, there's some sports that I didn't even know were college sports, and Barstool's been posting them.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know that either. I think, and they've been like accepting so many people. I'm like, that's so awesome to like have that under your name, like as a rep. I think
Yep.
that's cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Matt, you want to ask anything else or you want to move along here?
All right. Well, I actually do have something else I wanted to ask, and I'm just now getting back to it. So, you played. Whoa.
Uh
There we go. That's gonna be fun. So you played for the Colorado Rush. Established that earlier. This Nike ECNL thing. It's it's the league for. It's is it like the most competitive? Uh,
You know.
yeah. I'm not sure what it stands for. I looked it up and I forgot it. But
Yeah, so there's ECNL and DA. So when I first started competitive, it was ECNL, which that was the biggest club thing you could play for. Like all the big clubs around the country played ECNL, and DA was actually that's Developmental Academy. That's what it stands for. But I can't remember what ECNL stands for. But um, DA was boys usually, and ECNL was girls. And then I think my sophomore or junior year of high school, girls changed to DA. And so it kind of just changed like where the showcases were, like didn't change too much. Just kind of was I don't even know what that's called, like the sponsors. I don't know what but yeah, those two were the biggest kind of things that all the clubs played in.
yeah. So ECNL was Nike. Was DA a different company?
I think it was like U.S. Soccer, like worked with U.S.
Oh,
Soccer. Yeah,
okay.
if I'm thinking right, I don't even remember. That was like 4 years ago.
I mean, hey, that's awesome. I mean, I used to go to AAU tournaments all the time, and just like I can imagine that this is essentially the EYBL, the gauntlet for Adidas, stuff like that. Like that must have been really fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. I liked ECNL a lot because we got to go to like California all the time and Florida, and then DA was kind of like Idaho or
I'm sorry, you said like California and Florida?
yeah, like there that was where different showcases would be
That's
a lot.
like
Wow.
polar opposite ends of the continental United States. Are you
Yeah,
crazy?
I know. I've 95% of the places I've been in the US have been because of soccer, which I think is really cool. But
What's
That's
um,
awesome.
what's the coolest place you've been to?
oh, I actually we went to Hawaii for the Far West Regionals when I was like 13. So that was awesome.
Jeez.
I
Yeah.
should have played soccer. I should have lost a few pounds, lost my man titties, and I should have put on a soccer uniform. Instead, I was wasting my time playing D3 baseball for a year.
Nick, this is a PG show, man. Come on.
No, it's not.
Nick, dang it.
Oh my god. No, that's awesome. I mean, all the traveling that you do. I mean, that's got to be so cool. I mean, I remember we would I'm from New York, and if we had like a baseball tournament in Hershey, Pennsylvania. It was like a big deal. We were all excited for, the whole
Yeah.
summer.
Dude,
So
you get
that
to go to like
that's
the
that's
Hershey
got to
theme
be
park though.
what?
You get to go to the Hershey theme park. That's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially for me, if you're, a little bit overweight and stuff, that's a big deal. A whole
Jeez.
town that smells like chocolate. But enough about that though. So, Macy, what back to soccer. What if you could say something is like the message while Matt sits over there and minds his own business. Um what's the message for the team this year? Coming into this season, kind of it's it's back to not reality, but it's back to some kind of normalcy, correct? I mean, without COVID now, and what's the message in the locker room? What's the message from the coaches? What do you guys feed off of?
I think our biggest message, like me as like an upperclassman, that I would say to them is like we kind of have something to prove now. We did not do as well as we wanted to last fall, and I think COVID has a lot to blame for that. But we kind of are down here in the SEC where before we were up here, but we're down here now. So it's kind of like we have to prove what we're capable of, and we have a lot of players coming in, kind of a new team dynamic.
It's a young rebuilding team.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We have 2 seniors on the whole team.
Oh wow. Okay.
I think maybe 3. And so we just want to make sure everyone comes in with the same mentality. I mean, if everyone is on their game all the time, I think we're going to be amazing. But it's a lot of focus, a lot of drive. So I guess that's kind of what I would tell them.
I don't know. Are you allowed to say this? Are you looking to maybe pursue a captain role this year?
Um, so I think right now we're going to keep the same captains we had last
Though,
season.
are those the seniors?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And so I think if the captains were to change, it would be my senior year. And I mean, that's always in the back of my head. It could be a really cool opportunity. But
Yeah.
I think there's also other girls on the team that would be amazing captains, that I could see being captains. So I guess we'll just have to see until next season.
Okay. No, yeah, and I don't, obviously we don't know each other, but just from this, I mean, it seems like you would make a good captain. I mean, just because you're very, you're outgoing, you're not afraid to like communicate. I mean,
You
you
absolute
definitely
ham.
what?
You absolute ham. You're pandering, Nick. I see you. I see
I'm
you.
I'm not.
I see you.
No, but that's good. I mean, sometimes listen, a rebuilding year is what brings a team together, and sometimes it- you sometimes you get more than you think is going to happen. Who knows? You guys might be raising the trophy at the end of the year.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I think, well, even from the fall to the spring, the mentality change that this team had was insane. Like, we had 13 players total playing in the spring, and we had 9 games. So everyone on the team was basically playing 90 minutes, and we were
Yep.
playing hard competitors. And we like did amazing. We did so much better than the fall, and it was all because of mentality. Like we something clicked, and if that happens this next season, I think it's going to be really awesome for us.
Yeah, definitely. So, um, if I can ask just a couple more things, and I'll let you get out of here. Um, when you kind of when you were, I'm sorry. Let me word this correctly.
There you go.
When
Restart. Restart.
when you're kind of were a freshman and came to Alabama and you were gonna play soccer, was there a time of adversity that or like a bumpy road that you kind of had to hit where you kind of had to sit back and say, okay, here's what I need to do and here's why I want to do it? Or was it just flowers and roses from the start and you were like, I love soccer, I love Alabama soccer, I love this?
So like when I got to college or like leading up to college?
Well, either. I guess kind of tell us your story, as far as getting to college and kind of rolling through it.
Um, I think I've always kind of really loved soccer. There's been slight kind of bumps in the road in high school, like if there was some, like I had team changes, like age group changes, like lost some of my friends like to a different team, where it made me not be as interested in soccer. Um, but I think coming to Alabama and being so familiar with like the style of play and the coaching and like the team and stuff, I've never really had a point in my career where I'm like, this isn't what I should be doing.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Yeah,
I
definitely.
the school Alabama in general has a lot to do with that. Like I think I love Alabama so much, then that makes me love the soccer even more because I'm like everything is coming together.
Hmm.
But I think there's some parts like if you have a lull period in your play, like you're not doing as well as you want to, that's really hard to get over. But I mean, life is up and downs, and so you'll know you'll get over it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And do you follow soccer as a fan, or you kind of just you like to play?
I follow some soccer. I probably don't follow it as much as I should. Like, I'll definitely watch the World Cup and the Olympics and stuff like that. But I kind of, when I'm practicing and I'm in soccer, I'm like super into it. And then I have my life outside of it that I kind of keep away from it.
Absolutely. Are you following this Euro Cup at all?
Yeah, a little bit. I watched the game yesterday. I think it was Italy and
Italy played. We beat. Why am I
There
drawing
it
a
is.
blank on
There's
it?
the we.
Why am I? Yes, it is we
Yeah,
because.
I know. Calvacca, you Italian.
Are you Italian, Macy?
no, I'm Irish and English, and German.
Yes, the Irish and Germans take another one.
Well, Italy's playing England in the final,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
it's gonna be.
In that
What?
game.
What's
I,
that? You went out.
I was rooting for Italy in that game. So,
All right. Okay. Well, then that's good enough, I guess. We were playing Spain. That's who it was.
Yeah, España.
Yes.
That was a great game. I saw that last penalty.
Unbelievable
that was
game.
stressful.
Yeah.
That was really stressful.
Yeah.
Well-
did y'all two see the end of the England game?
I did not.
Oh my gosh, it ended because it was extra time. Harry Kane goes up, takes a penalty. Keeper saves it, but nobody's able to run into the box in time to take the ball back. So Kane just runs up and boots it into the other side. They take a 2-1 lead. And
Oh,
they ended up
man.
winning the game on that goal. Fun fact, the only other goal scored for England was by Denmark. It was an own
Oh, it was an own goal.
It was an own goal at the
Yep.
38th minute.
Wow, that's wild.
It was insane. I was losing my mind. The Three Lions versus the Italia.
That's crazy. That's wild.
I'm so
Well-
I actually might try and find a way to watch this one because this should be fun.
You should. It's gonna be good. I'm telling you. Well, Macy, thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. It's been so fun having these athletes on the show now. We wish the best for you. Like I said it earlier in the show, it seems like Dave Portnoy, everything the guy touches goes to gold. I mean, Barstool Athletics. One day he's opening up a new sports book. One day he's eating pizza. One day he's making a athletic agency for college athletes. I mean, it's awesome. I think you have a very bright future on and off the field. And I wish you the best with your career and with Barstool. So thanks again for coming on, and we really appreciate it. And hopefully we keep in touch and do this again sometime.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. That was really fun.
And
I'll say it right this time. Thank you to Macy Clem for joining.
Yes, thank
Got it
you
right.
for having me. Awesome.
All right, we ready to go out, Nick?
Yeah, that's gonna be it. So thank you, Macy. And we'll talk to you soon. All right.
Nice meeting you guys. Thank you.
Nice
Roll
meeting you too.
Tide.
Todd.
Thank you so much to everybody who tuned in to this episode of the Nick&Nash podcast. And so, without any further ado, we bid you adieu. We'll see you all next time.